Hi, my name is Nur Ashabalkis and I will be talking about word formation process, morphological description, and pragmatics. Firstly is coinage. It is not very common. It refers to the creation of non-existent words in language. Examples, Band-Aid, Google, and blogging. Second one is borrowing, taking over of words from other languages. Example, algebra coming from Arabic, tattoo coming from Tahitian, croissant is from French, and yogurt is from Turkish. Compounding, the joining of two or more separate words to produce a single form. Example, notebook, textbook, wallpaper, afternoon. Blending, the parts of two separate forms combined. Examples, brunch, which is breakfast and lunch, telecast, television broadcast, edutainment, educational, entertainment. Clipping, the word of more than one syllable is reduced to a shorter form. Examples, fax and photo. Conversion, when a word of one grammatical category becomes a word of another grammatical form without any changes to pronunciation or spelling. Examples, Sue and Robert are vacationing in India this summer. The next one is acronyms. People tend to forget acronyms' origins and become new words in language. Examples, DVD and ATM. The last one is eponyms. It is a word formation process in which new word is formed from proper name. Examples, jeans, described as clothing, and Jumbo, which is after an elephant brought to the United States by P.T. Barnum. Morphological description. Morphemes. It divided into two categories. First one is free and the second one is bound. Free divided into two, which is functional and lexical, where bound divided into three, which is prefix, infix, and suffix. For infix, we have bound bases, derivational, and inflectional. Derivational have two types, which is class maintaining and class changing. Pragmatics. Pragmatics is the study of how to do things with word or how people do things with words. There are few types of pragmatics. The first one is speech acts. Speech acts are different from physical acts like playing at the park, or mental acts like thinking about playing at the park because people use language to accomplish it. And the second one is direct speech acts. There are three basic types of direct speech acts, and they correspond to three special synthetic types that seem to occur in most of the world's language. We have speech act, sentence type, function, and examples. The first one for the speech act is assertion. Sentence type is declarative. Function is to convey information. Examples, his name is Amin. Second one is speech act is a question. Sentence type interrogative. And the function is elicit information. Examples, what is your name? And the third one is speech act, orders, and requests. Sentence type is imperative. Function is to cause others to behave in certain ways. Examples, my name is Amin. Number 3 is indirect speech act, which is returning to the speech act of questioning. We can easily come up with a number of alternate ways to ask the same question by using sentence types other than interrogative. Number 4 is performatives. In English and many other languages, there is a subtype of direct speech act that allows us to go beyond the three main forms of direct speech acts that each have their own syntax. These are the direct speaking acts that employ performative verbs. Number 5 is conversational implication. The comparative principle maxims has 4 principles. The first one is the maxim of quality, which is contributes ought to be true. Number 2 is the maxim of quantity. Contributions should be as informative as required, not saying either too little or too much. Number 3 is the maxim of relevance. Contributions should relate to the purpose of the exchange. Number 4, the maxim of manner. Contributions should be visible, particularly they should be organized and brief with no confusion. Number 6, rhetorical structure. Just as a phrase is a structured combination of words, this paragraph is a structured combination of phrases. Examples, here is the problem with the college admissions system. And the last one is the flow of reference in discourse. In conveying a message, we have to consider more than just who did what to whom, which we also have to keep in mind that our listeners know. And that is all for my presentation. Thank you very much.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Malala Binti Masmo. So for my part, I'll be explaining the whole of this project. So basically, what we have to do is we have to find one article, and the article need to be approved by our lecturer, which is Ms. Gantini. And once the article is already been approved from our lecturer, which is Ms. Gantini, what we have to do is we have to find a few of the questions or points that given in the guideline from our article. For example, we have to find the morphology, the syntax, the semantics, the pragmatics, and also last but not least is the discourse analysis from our article that we choose. So for my part, I'm doing the semantics and also the discourse analysis. So from my understanding, what is semantics? It's actually the meaning of words, phrase, or text, and it's actually the branch of a linguistics and logic concerned with a meaning. For example, semantics is actually the study of meaning in language, and it can be applied to entire text or to a single words. For example, destination and also last stop is actually the same thing, the meaning of the same thing, but students of semantics analyze the subtle shades of meaning. And also, other than that, from my understanding, it's the two main areas are logical semantics and concern with matters such as sense, reference, presupposition, implications, lexical semantics, and also the concern with the analysis of words meaning and relation between them. And then last but not least is actually the discourse analysis. So what is the definition? What is the meaning of discourse analysis? So basically, discourse analysis is actually linguistics methods of analyzing the structures of text or under each longer than one sentences, and taking into account both their linguistics, content, and their social linguistics in context, or analysis performed using this method. So that is what, from my understanding, that I actually understand the meaning of semantics and also discourse analysis. And basically, we have to find these two, which is my part, which is basically we have to find the few points that given in the report. For example, like I'm doing the semantic and discourse analysis from the article. So that's all for my part. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hi, and a very good evening to Miss Hogan. Okay, so for this assignment, I would be speaking on the part for syntax. Okay, so syntax is basically a word that comes before and after a word. In other words, it is the part of larger subject of grammar. Syntax is often used as a topic of poetry and is usually discussed in the context of diction and a poet's choice. Okay, so syntax is actually divided into two types, where one sentence syntax example, which is everyone has good days and bad days. Those syntaxes can be the word in their own, but George H.W. Bush sometimes sounded English more enemy than his friends, and he was the vice president who managed complexity with skill and balance. Okay, so moving on. Okay, so syntax is actually divided into four types of groups, which is surface structure, deep structure, structural ambiguity, and also labeled T diagram. Okay, so I'll explain one by one. Okay, so surface structure is actually two sentences which is different from one another. For example, from the article that I've actually got, the paragraph actually says that at first he thought it was a log, but he drew closer, he saw what looked like hair. The fisherman shouted to one of his friends who poked the object with a rod and said that he was dead. It was a dead body. Okay, so moving on to the second paragraph, sentence, which is actually a passive sentence. The first one was an active sentence and now it's a passive sentence. Okay, so the passive sentence is his body was clothed in only a sweatshirt and underwear, and it bore marked the torture. A pathologist determined that the victim had virtually no food in his intestines, which indicated that he had been starved for several days before he was killed. Okay, so moving on to the next type, which is the deep structure, which abstract level of organization where in all the elements. Okay, determining structural interpretation that represents. Okay, so witness described him as a gentleman and a mature guitarist who composed music for his rock band. He was also so for the structural ambiguity part, it actually describes more of how the person is in and out, and he is based on the article that we have chosen. The main character is a type of person who is not who would not actually provoke fight with anybody, or he wouldn't have an argument or look for problems with anybody. He's more of a person who would want peace and be friends with everyone. He has always wanted to be a kind of person who would be looked up to. And yeah, so moving on to the last one. So that would be all from me, and thank you.